This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
Well, guys, we're going to be talking about Eagles Saints. We're going to be talking about Darius Slay's podcast, and a lot to say about that going into this season already. And I feel like it's been more talk than really more proving themselves on the field the last couple weeks. So a lot to say about that. ESPN has talked about a Devin White trade, and if Devin White is a healthy scratch for this game on Sunday, I feel at this point there might be a trade lurking around the corner, which I think is another mistake going forward. And we're going to be talking about Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's injury and how they will kind of change some things up going into Sunday. So here we go.
A killer buried, but not dead.
Darren, we better turn around. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day today. So we have a lot to discuss. So this might be a long video. This might be kind of crazy today. A little bit of ranting, a little bit of talking about the game on Sunday, and obviously some news inside the Eagles that are making me very uncomfortable, and some things that they really need to change, and we get to see what the answer is going to be by Sunday at 1 o'clock, an early game finally. But before we get into anything, this video is sponsored by BetUS, and this is a word from BetUS. If I'm the betting man, and I am, and you're rooting for the Philadelphia Eagles, this is the redemption year for Jalen Hurts. This is the year we get the bad taste out of our mouths from last season. If I'm going all in, ride or die with a Super Bowl and bringing that Lombardi trophy back to Philadelphia for a second time, you need to go to BetUS, and I'm not wasting any time with it. I'm putting $500 down as the risk and getting $7,000 back at the end of the year, because this offense is going to be explosive. This defense by Vic Fangio is going to be dynamic. A 150% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000 with code YouTube150. Click the link in the description below. Start betting and start winning. All right, so we're going to be starting off with the one and only Darius Slay, because I feel like this really needs to be talked about. After watching Unscripted this past week, hearing what Nick had to say really for this week going to the Saints game, there's just way too much talk, guys, and this is just, I don't want to have deja vu. I don't want to live another year through this team that we're dealing with the same issues. And when you're losing games, the excuses and the talk just keeps happening. Okay, between Nick Sirianni and that unscripted video that I can't really believe anything he says anymore, because it's a motivator. And then behind it is, what makes the players believe? And how many weeks do the players hold on to this belief that they could do anything this year? I know we're only going into our third game right now, but this shit is alarming because we dealt with the same thing last year. So Slay went on his podcast this week and pretty much, talked about that play, got beat by Drake London pretty much like so easily. Okay. And then all of a sudden, he's laughing up for Drake London after the game, which I got more pissed off about. So, Slay's like, yo, it's on me. It's on me. Like why do these podcasts, like, these players can do whatever they want. It's freedom of speech. They can do whatever they want. I get it. But as like a team that's really down right now, and the way they lost that game, there should be nobody. And Slay will not stop doing this, and other players don't stop doing this. That's perfectly fine. I really don't have nothing against it. But when it comes to, like, I guess it's just, I just get a little pissed off over it, and just, oh, it's on me. It's all right. I can't. No Eagles player should be on social media. At least make videos, especially if you have a podcast, if it's scheduled, whatever the case may be. But Slay has got to shut his mouth. I'm sorry. Okay? Philly fans, I appreciate it. I deserved it. Give it to me this week. Come on now, dude. You should be nothing but quiet, focused, head down, ready to play on Sunday. This is just getting really old. This is getting really annoying. It's like it'd be the same thing if, like, Jalen Hurts had a podcast and talked about, oh, I made a bad throw, and it would be the same thing. And it's just really it gets to me when I see shit like this, because it reminds me so much of last year. where players should just shut the fuck up and play football. That's it. That's it. Okay, if you're in an 8, if you're winning 5, 6 game stretch, I can understand you're excited and make a video like this, perfectly fine. But Philly fans don't need to know that you played bad. We obviously saw what happened on the field. You don't need to tell us. Are you kidding me right now? Like, we don't need to know. We saw what happened. Trust me. You don't have to defend yourself. We saw how the whole defense played. We saw how you played on the last play. Okay, this is from a guy last year that literally made a podcast saying, oh, I can't tackle it. Remember when Seth Joyner called out the cornerbacks that they weren't physical enough and he got triggered because of it? Okay, and he went out and was like, oh, I don't tackle like that anymore because, I'm older in my career and I have kids and family and I want to have my body right for the future, when I retire. And, but he'll leave, almost go to the Ravens, come back for more money, and then doesn't play up to par. Okay, and then before our Tampa Bay playoff game, there's video of him saying, oh, thank God we're not playing in Philadelphia. Thank God, because they would be booing. And then he makes a video like this. Like, that's what it reminds me of, all of that shit from last year. Those are the two prime examples of just when you're in the hole right now, you're in the hole right now, and your team is playing really bad, and just not playing up to standard. Like, the last thing you should be doing is, and then it's like, oh, I played great, but my teammates didn't play good. Like throwing your team under the bus like he did last year. I hated it. I hate when he does this, and it just feels like he's just putting a target on his back. So if he messes up another play, what is he going to say then? And it feels like he has to answer to the fans all the time when he messes up. Don't feel like you have to answer the Philly fans. Don't show us by words. Show us by your play. That's all we care about. We don't care what you have to say. We don't care what anybody has to say. Okay, do you think any Eagle fans, maybe not a lot of them, maybe there's a whole bunch, but for me personally, if we lose a game, I don't watch the post-game press conferences till the next day because I'm so wired and so heated after a loss like that. I don't want to hear from nobody. And this is just a prime example of, come on, man. Just win a game first. At least win another game. Win a couple games before the bye. This is a big matchup this week. This is like a statement for the Eagles saying we could play football 101 and actually contend. I mean, seriously, it's just crazy. I'm just not a fan of it. I hate complaining about this. People in the comment section are probably gonna be mad at me for this, but it is what it is. That's where we're at. Secondly, okay, now Devin White. It's been a lot of rumors going on from ESPN. Okay, now I looked up some things. Now Devin White, if he is a healthy scratch yet again for this week, this Sunday against the Saints, I'm probably going to guess that he's on the trade block. Maybe. I don't know. Okay, this is going to be a big mistake because they need as many safeties as they possibly can. Obviously, Nakobe Dean's been pretty healthy. Zach Bond has been great so far. Obviously, bad coaching last week. But, Devin White, surprisingly was a healthy scratch for the second game. Okay, now going to the third game now, if he is a healthy scratch once again, I could see, from what it says on ESPN, take it with a grain of salt, but this is pretty much what it says. They named 3 different teams. The Bills, because they lost Matt Milano. You have the Patriots. You have the Raiders, or 2 other teams that need depth at linebacker or starters at this point. So I guess those teams would make a lot more sense. But, this is a guy that's making $4 million this year and really try to revive his career, even though Fangio says that Nakobe Dean has beaten Devin White out the whole entire training camp, which I still don't believe. I think he just said that to make himself look really good to the media. I don't know. But it's unfortunate. I really think Devin White has got to play. I've talked about this since the defensive line is getting no pressure. My idea from a couple days ago was go put Devin White at Mike linebacker and go take Zach Bond, okay, or outside linebacker, wherever you want to put Devin White. I don't care. Take Zach Bond, put him on the edge, have him as an edge rusher. He started as an edge rusher before he transitioned to an outside linebacker with the Saints last year, okay? Zach Bond did it in the first game in Brazil. Vic Fangio started putting Zach Bond on the edge, and he was a complete beast. This defensive line needs as much help as possible. Why sit a guy like this and use Zach Bond as a nightmare on the edge? I don't see why this is a bad idea going forward. So I think that's the plan. I'm really hoping that's the plan going to Sunday. If Devin White is out yet again, another healthy scratch week, then I guess we really have to worry about it going forward. I don't know, because all I'm hearing is trade rumors. And this is from ESPN saying that there's potentially Devin White could be on the trade block for specific reasons. Maybe they've been on the phones the last couple weeks. Maybe they're trying to get good compensation, or maybe there's just not enough room for him to play in front of anybody. I don't know, but I think you should activate him. And since your defensive line is on the downward spiral right now, Zach Bond is pretty much the protege, the best player of this system so far. He's the one player that's actually worked out so far. Depending on how he's used, there's a lot of success there. But the Devin White thing should be really interesting. Now, I kind of want to go through the Saints matchups, or pretty much the Saints on Sunday. Obviously, Clint Kubiak has done a fantastic job as the first-year head coordinator, or really the first-time head coordinator for the Saints. I think he was the coordinator for the Vikings in 21. The Saints defense, I think they're the 8th highest in blitzing rate. And you know what that run game looks like with Alvin Kamara and Derek Carr as not the most flashy, greatest quarterback, but man, with good coaching behind him, look what they did to the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, 92, 93 points in 2 games is unheard of when it comes to certain teams. I think for the defense, the biggest weakness going into this, because I saw reports on it, is Trevor Penning, the right tackle, will be playing in this game. But you have Ryan Ramczyk that is out for this game. It seems like a lot of their offensive linemen for the Saints offensive line is hurt or questionable, really. So you're either going to have some players playing with injuries, not 100%, or maybe some of these guys will be out with their left tackle. Talise Fuaga is questionable. Landon Young is questionable. We have tight end, Taysom Hill's questionable as well. And Taysom Hill, they like to use him, and he's a great blocker. He can catch the ball. And Taysom Hill has been a nightmare for us in the past. A.T. Perry at wide receiver is questionable. Cedric Wilson at wide receiver is questionable. You still have to worry about Chris Olave, still a fantastic player in that run game. My God, it's that good. It's that good. Don't make it easy. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, because it seems like the blueprint plan for offensive lines against the Eagles defensive line is to really double Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, and pretty much that's it. I mean, that's all they really have to do. And obviously, we have no containment on the outside because Bryce Huff, because Josh Sweat, these guys cannot contain, especially Bryce Huff. I don't know how many videos I made on Bryce Huff this past week, but I'm almost going to throw up and vomit everywhere because I've been doing it nonstop. You know what I mean? So I think the Saints are a tough – the next 2 weeks are going to be tough. Two teams that are just playing with a lot of grit, playing fast, and 2 teams that like to blitz a lot. Okay, and the Saints they are top 10 in blitzing percentage already. Okay, you saw what they did to the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, putting 40-something points. If they could beat the Cowboys by 40-something points, let me tell you something. They could probably put 60-something points on us. Okay, but we're talking about football 101. That's what we're talking about. You got Tyrann Mathieu at safety. Don't throw a hero ball downfield 70 yards that goes nowhere, because that man will be there to go get it. He will be there to go get it. So, a lot of good weapons on the Saints. Derek Carr, as long as he's not throwing over 35, 40 times, he's going to do really well in this game. And they have to limit that. They got to make sure they cover Olave. They got to make sure they do a few things to really stop. I mean, they're really hurt on the offensive line right now. So I'm really hoping to God they get some pressure. I mean, it's got to get better. But the main problem I'm having that I'm starting to see, not really starting to see, I've kind of noticed it, kind of known it, but Fangio is literally taking players out of their strengths. I think why the defensive line is not getting the pressure is because your edge guys are bad. Your edge guys, you don't even have a defensive end. I think Nolan Smith is probably the only guy I think on record in his career that can actually be in coverage, because Josh Sweat can't cover, because Bryce Huff is just a deer in headlights in coverage. These guys should not be dropping back, period. Okay, and I think Fangio is literally ruining this defense very slowly, and I don't know what we're going to see. I think, honestly, that first game in Brazil, the Eagles were saved on a lot of big throws. The receivers dropped a lot. Green Bay's receivers dropped a lot of easy throws. Guys were slipping all over the place. And now going to New Orleans now, and what the Eagles are going to bring to this game, I honestly have no idea. I really don't. Between your offense being as stale and vanilla as it is, get Jahan Dotson involved. I don't know why Covey had more. Seriously, Britton Covey had more reps, more targets over Jahan Dotson. No A.J. Brown for this game. I mean, you can't even prove that you can win without A.J. Brown for a week. Okay? That's how vanilla and how boring and how blatantly just non-existent this offense is. Run with Saquon Barkley. I heard from Nick Sirianni's unscripted. He's like Saquon Barkley. You're going to get the ball. You're our first and second and third down back. You're going to get it every time. It's like, well, you're not giving it to him every time. You're not doing that, obviously. You got to use him more. Don't tell a back that's why you're here, Saquon. Like, come on now. It's why he's here, but certain moments, like Saquon will rip 9-10 yards a carry. It's almost insane, and especially in the passing game as well. Besides the end of the game, or really to kind of clinch the end of that game and put it in last week, just couldn't get it done. It is what it is. But like I said, it's football 101, guys. We can go over matchups and stupid crap like that, but if the Eagles came and contend to like half of what the team could do, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm kind of looking for on Sunday. Like, can they contend? Can they be coached the right way? I mean, at least with the defense, even if the defense is bad, this offense has no excuse, even without A.J. Brown. Get Dallas Goedert more involved. I mean, I was like questioning almost everything. Like, there's no way this is Kellen Moore's offense. There's just no way. So I sit here just thinking every single time. Like, it's just getting annoying. But you couldn't stop Kirk Cousins. Can you actually stop Derek Carr and Alvin Kamara? Okay, with a beat up offensive line right now. I hope so. I'm hoping they can. It's just really tough for me. I told you guys going into this season, I'm not falling for any BS. If they win ugly, they win ugly. I'm not going to say they're a good team. I'm not falling for it anymore. I am being on these guys like there's no tomorrow. Like, there's no excuses anymore of why it should be the way it is. And then when A.J. Brown comes back and they still look horrible, then it's just, wow. Then we really have to see what the real main problem is and figure this out, because the hype was so real, and it's just, like I said, we're only going to the third week. Things could turn around, but they really have to prove to me that they could turn this thing around, because I'm sorry, between the quarterback to the coaching to the how the wide receivers are used to just everything. It's literally everything. There's not one positive thing I've been really seeing besides from specific players, okay? Your Thomas Booker and Moro Jomo shouldn't be your best DTs. Seriously. Really. That's where I'm at with this defense, especially the line in general. Because if your line can't stop the run, they're not going to get pressure. They're going to get tired out, especially if your offense is going 3 and out nonstop. You can't stop the run. You can't pass rush in a game entirely. Doesn't matter what your linebackers are, your corners, your safeties. It doesn't matter. They are all going to suffer because of that defensive line not having any type of attack going forward. And that's pretty much where we're at right now with this whole thing. It's like, can they actually just contend? I mean, do I really have to believe that this team is just a little bit better than the Carolina Panthers right now? I mean, I don't want to think that, but it's looked very dull and boring. It just hasn't been. We haven't played up to par, and I'm hoping they change things. So that's where we're at with that. Now, CJ, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson was on the injury report Thursday with a foot injury, just came out of nowhere. Everybody was like, oh my God. So Sidney Brown is not back, obviously, and obviously Johnny Wilson has the hamstring, did not practice. And so unfortunately, he's missing some time. Now, Chauncey, if Chauncey is out, most likely they're going to keep Quignon on the outside. They're going to put Cooper DeJean most likely at the nickel spot because he will not be put anywhere else. He has not played safety one time, the offseason program, practice, unless, they're doing stuff behind the scenes we don't know of. Avonte Maddox will probably take that spot, that safety spot next to Reed Blankenship. And honestly, I'd rather have Avonte Maddox back there, I guess. We got to put him somewhere because we have no choice. But Cooper DeJean, Time to catch up now. There's no more. He needs more time. It's over. He's had another week. Throw him in the fire. Let him learn. Trust me, he'll learn the defense pretty damn quick. He'll learn it pretty damn fast with more reps. Okay? So we'll see Cooper DeJean hopefully in that nickel spot, inside corner spot. Quinyon Mitchell, I think Mitchell is tied for 4th in the league, or I know he's top 5 in passes. Passes deflect, which is great. I mean, saw the statistics there. So I'm hoping the Eagles can get some turnovers in this game. And it makes the season more exciting when they're actually playing bad and then kind of like seeing the transformation if they can actually do it. But man, if this is a bad year, this is going to be not even a downfall because we already had our downfall last year, but this is just like, man, like you guys can't get this coaching thing right. Like the control and the ego and Nick's ego pissing me off every week. Telling you, I'm hoping things really change. So that's where I'm at with everything. Let me know what you guys think about Slay's podcast, Devin White trade if possible, the Saints in general. Do you even feel like that this game is even winnable? Okay, I want to hear from you guys. And you guys enjoy the rest of your day. This video, thank you for BetUS for sponsoring this video. Get 150% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000 with promo code YouTube150. Bet on the Eagles. We're gonna hopefully turn this thing around, and we'll be making a lot of money while doing it. So definitely go to BetUS and check it out. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Enjoy the rest of your day. Shakes, what up? Follow slide. Peace out, guys. Peace.